Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Breakfast at Ruby's. This is a weekly podcast slash talk show that we film every week on twitch.tv slash Project Ruby. It later gets uploaded onto YouTube and your favorite podcast services. So make sure to follow all of those places where we're at. You can find me at Project Ruby everywhere, the Project Ruby on Instagram. And yeah, this is a weekly talk show where we talk about hot topics, recent events, trending topics on social media, and all of that. So on my left, I'm definitely not doing this alone. So on my left, we have Chelora. Hi.
Hi.
Who are you? What do
How we
you
do?
do? Where can your fans and non-fans find you?
I'm Chelora and I sleep a lot. Um, you can find me on twitch.tv/Chelora. You can find me on Instagram at Chelora with a zero instead of an O. And you can find me on Instagram at Chelora Flora.
Yes, an icon, a legend. And also, to my right, we have another icon, another legend. We have Smalzsy. Hi.
Hi.
Who are you? Where can your fans find you?
Who am I? Well, I'm me. No, I'm Smalzsy. I'm a part-time streamer, full-time dwarf, and I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Smalzsy. You can find me on all good socials and all good Goodwill stores under Smalzsy as well. And yeah, that's it.
Yes. Welcome aboard to your first Breakfast at Ruby's episode. Hopefully, it's everything you've
Thanks.
ever hoped for. But a little quarantine check. I guess it's less of a quarantine these days because more and more places are opening up and stuff like that. But how have things been in Australia for all the quarantine and COVID handlings? Because obviously, I only know from the European perspective. So how has things been over there?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy over here. It was sort of not really a thing, and then all of a sudden it was just bam, straight away, just hit in a really quick wave, and we're relaxing now. We've gone through. We're not completely relaxed yet, but we our infection rates are seriously low. We're talking like in the less than hundreds for the whole country at the moment. So it's good for now. But yeah, there's always that risk of resurgence and stuff. But we are getting back to normality at the moment, which is good. It's positive, and I hope that it continues to kind of go that way. Yeah.
Yes. Over here, it's also happening. Like we don't have as strict of guidelines anymore. I mean, obviously, people are still taking precautions, and it's definitely required for people to wear masks in like public transportation and stuff like that. But I actually went out of the house for the first time in a couple months. Um, I helped my mom around with like some chores and stuff that she had to do, and it was so like claustrophobic having to wear a mask. Like I don't know how people do it on a daily basis because I was like, I this is too overwhelming. I hate it. I want to go home. So it made me it made me even less um like it made me want to go out even less than I usually do, which is, rare because I don't like going out, but it made it so that I like it even less. So that's lovely. We love that for me. But how about you, Chalora? How have things been on your end?
Um, I had to go out because I needed some dental work done. Um, but every time I go out, it's been like maybe 50% of people wear masks.
Oh,
And that's like over the past month.
I hate it.
And it's just like infuriating. And it's like cops aren't wearing masks, regular people aren't wearing masks. And I mean, at least I had one. And I do find it kind of irritating. Like I wear glasses, so like it comes all the way up here, and then your glasses are like Like they just like move around and then it pushes your mask down and then your glasses don't fit. It's so infuriating.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
the
don't find
curse
it
of
too
wearing
bad.
glasses.
I've definitely given some side eyes as I was helping my mom
Yes.
out. I was like, mm-mm. And it's funny because at least over here, the narrative on the news and stuff like that for a while was that young people are reckless and stuff like that. But from what I've seen, it hasn't just been young people who are reckless when it comes to like not wearing masks and stuff like that. I've seen people of
Yeah.
all ages screw that up. And especially as people are getting more relaxed, there's less people looking to see if people are actually following the guidelines. So that's also frustrating to me because like in some places they used to only open like one of the doors, for example. Like if there's like multiple openings to a store, for example, different doors, they would only open one so that they had someone checking if everybody was wearing a mask. But now it's like they're allowing everyone in. They don't have anyone specifically there to make sure that everybody is being careful. So that's not making me want to go outside. So I'm going to avoid it as much as I possibly can. Um, so yeah, that's been this week's quarantine check. Let us know, everyone, in chat, in the comments, all that stuff. Let us know how life has been for you these days. Hopefully, all good things. But we on the previous episode of Breakfast at Ruby's, we mentioned as the protests for Black Lives Matter started to happen, we mentioned it, and definitely things have been, there's been some progress made in some ends. There's still a lot to fight for. So I just want to say, like in the beginning of this episode, that Black lives continue to matter, even if it's not a trending topic on social media. Like, let's keep retweeting things that as we see them. Let's keep signing petitions. Let's keep doing all that stuff, because it's like one day it seems like we're making progress, and then the next day it's like, oh, the person got charged, but then the next day it's like, oh, they got bailed out, and then the next day it's like, oh, this person, like a new law passed, and then the next day it's like, oh, but the people who like were responsible for that person's death didn't, like, nothing happened to them. So like there's still a lot to be done, especially as like elections start coming around, and as the new fiscal year, like a lot of companies, a lot of places, the new fiscal year starts around now. So like people need to be aware of like when to call their representatives and all that stuff. So make sure that you do as much as you can. Like, obviously protests aren't for everyone. Like, some people get anxious, some people aren't physically able to go to those protests and stuff like that. So just like make sure that you do everything that you can. Donate to stuff. Like, for all the gamers watching, because we're doing this on Twitch, there's an itch.io bundle for like $5 at minimum, where they're splitting the money 50-50 to two different Black Lives Matter organizations. So like they're helping out a lot of people with that, and you get a bunch of stuff. So there's definitely a lot of like resources and places you can donate to, where we've been raising money for the Bail Project on my own streams. So just make sure you do as much as you can, but also, take care of yourselves, check in with your friends, and make sure all of that is going as smoothly as it possibly can. So I just want to say this, because as we talk about recent topics and stuff like that, it's important to not forget that this is an ongoing issue, and it hasn't stopped just because it's not number one trending topic anymore. It's cute to talk about the PS5, it's cute to talk about the new stuff coming out, but let's keep it balanced. Let's not forget about the battle that we're currently fighting. So but as a result of the Black Lives Matter movement, there's been a lot of people and organizations getting exposed for like behaviors and racism and injustices and stuff like that. So one of the first things that happened was when Lea Michele, she is known for being on Glee, she did Scream Queens, a bunch of shows and stuff like that, and she posted a tweet about how she's in support of the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. And Did I say stream queen?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, scream queen. Yeah. So an ex co-worker of Lea, Samantha Ware, she was on one of the last seasons of Glee, and she's a black actress for people who don't know who she is. She basically exposed Lea, and she tweeted, I think she quote tweeted, if I'm not mistaken, and she said, quote, "Remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? Because I'll never forget. I believe you told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would shit in my wig. Amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood." So after that, Lea was dropped from a sponsorship that she was gonna have with HelloFresh, and other actors that worked with her in other shows have kind of like said things here and there, nothing too specific. Samantha was the most outspoken one, but people basically have hinted, and some have straight up said that she was not pleasant to work with. She was a diva. She was intense, to say the least. And actually, there's been yesterday, actually, just as soon as yesterday from the time that we're recording this, there's been an exclusive with Variety, and in which Samantha actually spilled a little bit more detail. So I'm gonna mention a couple of those. Definitely check out the Variety article when you have a chance. But she basically said that it all started when she did her first musical number on the show. And she felt like Lea basically gave her the silent treatment. She said, quote, "The silent treatment, stare downs, looks, the comments under her breath, weird passive aggressiveness." And she said that Lea threatened her. Like, she said that she could get her fired. She was going to talk to Ryan Murphy and get her fired from the show. And she said that people on the show said that it was basically just a thing, like that was how she was, and she said that everybody felt sorry because they didn't have the power to change anything about it. She has since apologized, but people were like, she basically said, "I don't remember that specific thing. I would never be a racist. That's definitely not a thing that I would do or say."
How convenient.
Yeah, I was like, how can you not remember that? Like, and I was talking to some people, and I was like, for her to not remember, it tells me that there were multiple instances where she was awful, where she doesn't remember that specific one. So yeah, she was really mean to her. But yeah, what do y'all think about this entire Lea Michele situation? We'll start with Chelora.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch Glee. Sorry.
What? Get out! You're removed. No, just kidding. Especially now, like I'm like, I don't care if you haven't seen Glee, girl. Like, it's fine. It's cursed. The show is cursed.
I've seen a lot of these call outs to action and things like that, and I don't know. I just think this is so artificial. Like, she did make a post on the 3rd about like apologizing, but it was very much like, I don't remember making those specific statements, and she's being like, I might have hurt other people.
Yeah.
And it's like, girl, you obviously hurt other people because they're upset with you. So don't tell people that their feelings aren't valid. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there are microaggressions even in her apology, in my opinion, because you're not acknowledging certain things. You're pretending like they don't exist, and these are very privileged things to do, especially as someone, let's say it's even just, garbage microaggressions. It's still something you have to acknowledge because, in the industry, it's very difficult for a lot of people, and you shouldn't make their lives a living hell on a set or whatever. I don't know. I just think it's really irresponsible. And at the end, she's like, "I'm gonna become a mother soon, and I just really have to like pick up my pieces and be make the world a better place." And it's like, well, you got a bad start to it.
Started off
You're
with the
gonna have
wrong
to
foot there. Yeah, for
you're
sure.
gonna have to do better, Miss Thing.
Yeah, Ben's in chat said the apology felt very, I'm sorry you felt that way. Would you say you
Yes.
agree with that sentiment, Smallsy?
Oh, definitely. It was just like really, girl. Like it was. Yeah, it was one of those, yeah, sort of like half-assed, like, oh, I need to say something, like, like it was just, it was ridiculous. And it was like, it's weird too because like you sort of like you've seen like I've seen like a few like like comments from like other people who've worked with her, and then I think it was I forget her name on the show. Brittany, was there a Brittany on the show?
I
I can't
think
remember,
so. Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, I think like Brittany tweeted something out, and it was just like, oh, like yes, she may have said some things and may have hurt people, but like remember, like she's pregnant and don't like
Right.
assume things, and like, and I'm like, girl, what?
No.
Like like don't attack her, like
Yeah.
listen, I'm like, yeah, it was, yeah, but yeah, it was just a whole thing, and like you're reading like there's been like sentiments from multiple people put out online like that have worked with her, and
Mm-hmm.
that are just like it's all like similar like experiences, and it's just like, well, yeah, if you don't remember that specific day, surely you could remember
Others.
every other time you've
Yeah.
done it, like come on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, this is
truly.
not just an isolated incident. Like people came out, like people who were extras on the show and people who did guest appearances. They said that Leah would refer to the background actors as cockroaches. I saw a thing where someone who worked on Broadway with her when she was like 13, they said that she would like yell at people and tell them that she could get them fired. And apparently people that like basically just people know this is like a thing in Hollywood. Like they know she has this reputation. Um, and the other thing that I saw as well was there was a model who went to, I don't remember the year, but they went to the Emmys because Glee was nominated for an Emmy in the early 2010s, and they said that and she said that Leah saw her in the bathroom, and she was like, "Excuse me, this is the ladies' room," and she said this to a trans model. So um, there was even an incident of her being transphobic in there. So um, I think definitely like as we talk. Yes, thank you, Passion in chat. Plastic Martyr was the model's name. Um, I definitely, as we speak about this, I just need to remind people that we are here to talk about this person's behavior. Like we're not here to tell people to like go send her hate, go tell her to do all these things. Like obviously that's not the way to go about it, but definitely keep them accountable, Like if she sends out a tweet promoting something, tell her like, girl, like no, like this is not the time to promote your shit. Like you need to right your wrongs. Um but obviously like there's no right way to do it, but obviously focus on your pregnancy. How about that? Like focus on that, focus on becoming a better person, stay off the limelight a little bit, and focus a little bit on that, because I also Amber Riley that worked with her, she played Mercedes on the show, and she said that Leah hadn't talked to her in years, and she DM'd her in the midst of all of this, and she reached out, and Amber said that she doesn't think that Leah is necessarily racist, but she doesn't necessarily care about this as well, because Amber is focusing more like on the protests, and she's been actively protesting as well. So this is probably the last thing on her mind. She's probably like, we've been new this. I don't care about this right now. This is not. So yeah, I think her behaviors can be considered racist, but maybe as a person, multiple people have said that she may not be racist, but her behavior was. So like, you know, it is what it is. And it's a shame that like Ryan Murphy and other executives have put her in positions where she was able to say these things. And Amber Riley even said it on an interview that other actors from other networks DM'd her and said that they suffered from that a lot of times with like their lead from that series was a white individual, and they would always like make sure that everybody knew how powerful they were, and they always made sure to know that the side character that was usually a person of color was basically replaceable, and they could get rid of them, and they weren't relevant to the show, which is very debatable. Excuse me, like a lot of the most memorable characters are not the main characters, especially like the boring white ones. So I'm just gonna say that like everybody who watched Glee loved Mercedes way more than they did Rachel. I'm just gonna say that.
Rachel was not a favorite.
So we're just gonna say that. But yeah, in the midst of people getting I guess exposed, there was recently a shit show happened at about Bon Appetit. They're a very popular magazine / YouTube channel, very well known. A lot of people love them, a lot of people love to hate them. Regardless, basically their ex-editor-in-chief, Adam Rappaport, I don't know how to say his name, basically I think a former employee of theirs actually put this photo of him doing brownface up as a way to kind of showcase how, you know, he wasn't the most inclusive person, borderline racist, and how the people of color within the company didn't feel like they were being listened to, and how even Bon Appetit as a YouTube channel, obviously, like, I've been a fan of them for a little bit, and now looking back, I'm like, yeah, that staff is, like, awfully non-inclusive. Like, it's very white. So they basically, like, he got that exposed, and then Sola, one of the most beloved people in the cast, like I think she's a recent addition to the shows and to the team, ish, and she basically used this opportunity that he was being exposed and all the issues were being exposed to state the problems that she had with the company, and she said that she's been working 10 months. That's not that recent. She's been working there for almost a year, and she has 15 years of experience, and she was hired as an assistant editor, and she was paid $50K a year, and or a month, I don't know actually, while the white editors got paid more, and she and a lot of the, if not all of the people of color that were presented in the videos, they didn't get paid for those. So immediately my reaction was like, uh-oh, Claire is always calling her and always asking for help. And I say Claire, like there's literally compilations out there with most of the staff asking Sola for help because she's clearly very qualified, like overqualified if you ask me. And I'm like, she didn't get paid for that? Like that's like, I was like, this is not cute. So to give a little bit more context before I ask y'all how you feel about this, basically Sola has shared with BuzzFeed News a couple of things that wasn't shared in the in her statements and all that stuff. So basically the reasoning that apparently she said, quote, their reasoning for it was always that the people who have contracts are the people who have series like shows, but those people who have shows are white, and the higher ups are the ones who decide who has a show. So she's talking about like how Claire has the gourmet makes, how Brad has his series. Everybody has kind of like their own series. But yeah, if you look at it, everybody who has those shows, they're predominantly white people. So that was the excuse that they gave Sola. Apparently she got a raise recently, but apparently they have been doing Zoom calls a lot, and she's been demanding, alongside other people, they've been demanding for changes, and changes have been actively been made. But some of her coworkers, like Molly and Claire and Andy, a lot of them have come forward and said that they're not going to be shooting any more videos until this gets sorted, until everybody gets paid equally, until everybody gets what they deserve. So yeah, what do y'all think about this whole fucking mess? We'll start with Smalzsy this time.
Where to start? I mean, going on a deep dive today about it, like everything is just, there is so many. Yeah, receipts. Chelora's got the receipts ready to throw out. I I looked, and there was so many side things apart from just Sola being mistreated and yeah, underpaid and everything like that. But like you said, like that recap video, like of every time someone has asked Sola for help, like my God, like do they know how to do anything themselves? Like it just seems like she is there every single time they need like help. And I personally, like I had heard of Bon Appetit before, but I didn't even know it was a magazine.
Me neither.
I learned that today. I looked through like 5 videos to like see what it was about, because I was like, I've never really watched it. I've never heard of it. I think like I heard of it when Trixie did something with them a while back, and that was like the first thing I'd heard about it. But like you scroll down the YouTube thumbnails, and it's not like it's not diverse. It's it's very it's very like yeah, with the rest of the information that has come out and the rest of the stories about certain other stuff and you know, people in the parent company and stuff like that, it's just like what I was impressed with, I suppose, is the rest of the crew like standing up and speaking out. Like most of them in that test kitchen, I think that's what it's called. Is like most of them had spoken out. I mean, there was a few issues with a few of them as well. Anyway, but like, I guess Chelora would have more of a input. She's ready with receipts.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, it's just. The more you dig with that with Bon Appetit, you find some ugly stuff. Yeah, like there was a series with Hawa Hassan that was like 3 episodes long, and she had to like fight for it. She had to pitch for it to get a segment on there. And she was doing Somalian food, and also like very, very informative about like Somalian culture and stuff, and it was fantastic. And then I looked online after seeing her speak out about her experience with them, and she was also severely underpaid for her work and the content she produced. And I watched one of her videos, and then I went and watched one on how to cook a chicken, and it was just like, well, you know, I learned 1,000,001 things from you know, Hawa's video than what I was learning from old mate over there, who probably gets paid thousands and thousands of dollars like for one video. Like it was just, yeah, it was really it's really disappointing.
Yeah, to say the least.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Yeah,
like
truly.
I was watching no shade to like Molly or any of the other people, but like I would scroll through their, like 5 videos I missed this week or whatever, and it's like Sola makes like incredible, diverse, like interesting food that I want to eat, and then Molly, the white girl, makes mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
like I don't want to make
Yeah.
mac and cheese.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although Molly was one of the first people to be like, I'm not filming anything else, so props on
true.
her for that. But
Yeah.
it's more on the higher ups because honestly, they're giving these people who I feel like some of them are not as like qualified as Sola because Sola has a lot of years of experience. We just said it earlier, and she said something as well. She said that they asked her to stand in the backgrounds of videos and photo shoots to make the staff look more diverse, and she said that always made her super uncomfortable. So yeah, it was one of those things. And there was another situation where she was assigned to do a video with 3 black chefs, and because they didn't have any black people on staff, they sent Sola. And she said it was like a very strange situation for everyone involved because the chefs were probably expecting a black person as well because they were gonna be doing, I think, something for maybe Black History Month or something like that. So she basically, for that assignment, they were like, we have Sola. And I think there was another situation as well when someone pitched something like a recipe or something, and they were like, oh, we have Priya already. Like that was literally their quote. They were like, oh, we have Priya, as in like, oh, we already have someone that fits that mold, so we don't need another person. Like we can have tons of white staff, but we can't possibly have 2 non-white staff members like of the same culture. They have one of each, and that's like good enough to them, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, Miss Chelora has some receipts and she's ready to spill, and I'm ready for her to spill, so I'm ready, girl.
So, I have been a longtime fan of Bon Appetit, with a lot of other people, and at least what's good is that the people that we see in the videos are coming forward and really being vocal and using their platform. I haven't seen any of them except maybe Gabby, but Gabby has been pretty vocal about like not understanding how Instagram works. She's not very tech savvy, and she's just kind of like, I don't like what's going on, but like I don't know how to do it, so
Right.
sorry. But besides that, Brad is the test kitchen manager. So he's made a couple statements. They were a bit vague, for my opinion. Like I feel like as like a test kitchen manager leader type character or type personality, especially having probably one of the most popular series,
Yeah.
definitely to step up to the next level, not just say, oh, blippity bloppity bloop, like we're gonna do better.
Yeah.
And it's like you gotta really step it up.
Mhm.
But for some people that is a struggle that they don't think about. They don't think about like the impact. They just like, oh well, I have to say this to do this, and this is what I want to do. But I think that we'll see through action if that really does occur. Claire made a post recently talking about how like just posting regular words and things like that is not enough, and she's not on contract at the moment, so she doesn't want to sign the next one until she thinks and other people think that it's appropriate to do so. And the contracts are not just with Bon Appetit; they're with the producer, which I think is, I don't remember what they're called, like Conde something.
Yeah, they have a weird name that I can't pronounce.
Conde Nast or
She
something like Yeah.
She has probably the other most popular series, which is the Gourmet Makes and some other stuff. I think she does.
Yeah, I think she's basically like a freelancer at this point.
Mm-hmm. But she is one of the most popular, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think they really, that's a really good stance to take when, you're one of the headliners, to say like, hey, I'm just not going to sign this until you like fix your shit.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I think I saw something where she had filmed content with them that hadn't been posted, and she requested that they
so they had been
post
filming until May, I think. So there's still content coming out that BA is editing and putting together and then producing, or that they haven't produced or put out yet. So, if you're like, hey, but she said she wasn't going to do that, it's just post-production, and then they have footage, so they're just going to release it. There's also been a GoFundMe for Sola, which is not real, so please don't do that.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody sees that.
Yeah, don't donate.
And if you do see stuff like that, please check with the person. And if they haven't made any posts about it, you should probably DM them, let them know. Yeah. Because people don't usually do stuff like that. Like, they're not going to be like, so I face diversity now, or adversity, please give me money now.
Right.
Like, it's just, people don't want money for that.
Exactly.
But I have more information here.
Yeah.
So Alex Delaney was one of the people who responded first as well, with Molly and all of them. And it came to light that they posted something on TikTok, or they happened to be featured in a TikTok where they said the F slur. Or a Vine. It says a Vine. Maybe it was, I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, apparently it's like an older thing, so it's probably a Vine.
Yeah, it was an older Vine, yeah.
Yeah. But it still happened.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure.
Exactly, yeah.
Something else that they posted was a Confederate flag cake.
Yeah.
On Tumblr.
I saw the apology that he did, but like, it still happened. that has repercussions.
Obviously, if it happens, there's something going on there that needs to be
addressed,
like deep-rootedly discussed, figured out, and so it's not just like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoops. People don't just go around saying the F slur when they're not around their gay friends just because they can.
Right.
Yeah.
It probably comes from somewhere. Carla also made some posts. She discussed that she sent an email to everybody in the test kitchen at some point in her career, and she was just apologizing to everybody because she felt like the email would have come across like they were targeting people, because she didn't know that like the is the bi POC, is that how you would say it?
I think so.
That's how they always say it, so
yeah,
I'll say that. They were being kind of manhandled into what they were allowed to do, what they weren't allowed to do, very like moved around and pushed around. And so she made this email about like being, considerate in the kitchen, and noise, and, maintaining focus. So like not socializing so much and things like that. And it ended up coming across very targeted to a lot of people because they're already being targeted. So people were kind of like attacking her for this email and things like that. But she's just I don't know. I think that's just kind of like she's acknowledging what happened and acknowledging that she just wrote it wrong, that she should pay more attention in the future, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't really think
She
that
posted the
is.
email, and it
Yeah.
was worded wrong,
Yeah.
but like you understood where it was coming from. I think
Yeah.
one of the actual, I don't think they work in the kitchen, but someone else who works on the back end, maybe editing and stuff, responded to it and was like, I like took this pretty hurtfully, like it affected me, like, you know, I felt targeted by this
Yeah.
for, you know, quite a long time, but that was, you know, the culture of it. And, you know, when I spoke to one of the white, you know, employees about it, they said they weren't concerned at all. And it was, yeah, so it was like, it definitely came off, it was worded wrong. It was it would have been quite confronting for people who, you know, probably, yeah, are mistreated seriously in the workplace already, and that would have added to it severely. So which was good. I'm glad that she addressed it. I'm glad that she took it out, like, and for her to actually post the email is pretty big too, like, you know, to like say, hey, this is what I did, like, you know, and it was wrong. So gotta commend her for that, like,
I just
doing
think
the
it's
right
like a
thing.
big no bullshit move, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, no one's gonna misconstrue what I'm saying, because here it is, like, this is exactly what I posted.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Someone named Alex Lau also posted some stuff on Twitter, talking about, because I think they don't work there anymore.
Yeah, I think they were an editor or ex-editor or something like that. I think I saw.
Or I thought they were a cameraman.
Um.
They said they went out to film.
Oh, I think. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Maybe.
But
Actually.
he was pushing the he says leadership, white leadership,
Right.
refused to make changes that he pushed for. They would do training programs, is what he said, and it was just kind of like, be nice to each other. Like, it wasn't
Right.
like anything interesting. And it's a really good read if you can find it. Really informative. But I just think it's interesting how he, you know, people aren't listening to the different diverse people we have. You know, you have in a company, they're just specifically not listening to those people, and they're going completely unheard, and then they have to go out and film those things, and it's like, why would I want to film something I don't really think is going to be productive or interesting, especially like in terms of journalism. Like, he was saying, like, how often have we already filmed this food and this thing and this culture, or this, you know, these people have already been filmed a million times. We need to film these people or these people or these people or this food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's what I look for. Like, just how I said with Molly, I know how to cook mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I've seen a million ways to cook mac and cheese. Like,
Yeah,
anywhere
you
you
look.
go, you can find how to cook mac and cheese everywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, don't post, like, don't, you know, give me videos on donuts and everything like that. Like, you know, like Hawa's videos, like, it was like Somalian stew and Somalian pancakes, and I forgot what the other one is now. My memory is terrible, but like, it was just like, it was interesting stuff. Like, I want to know how to, like, you know, do creative
Yeah.
stuff, not like how to cook a chicken again for the 38th
Again.
video.
Yeah.
In a different way, like, you know, like,
For sure.
like, oh, today we're cooking chicken, but a different way. Like, you know, give us stuff. And I yeah, I noticed like, it was sorry, I'm blanking. I was gonna say something very important, but like
I hate when that
but
happens.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
yes,
it's just
I'm
like,
ready. Let me make this point, and then
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, where did it go?
Yeah, no, I noticed. I checked. Cause I'm a comment reader. I love reading everything that's going on, and like everything. I noticed, like, there was a lot of people, because like in that specific video that I watched, I fell in love with Hawa Hassan straight away. And I may be saying her name wrong. I apologize if I am. But I fell in love with her straight away. Like, she was so amazing and like lovely. And I was like. I was reading down the comments, and like, you know, she was giving full information about like how the, you know, like history of Somalia and like the spice trade and everything like that. It was fantastic. Like she was giving so much information and stuff like that. And then it's just like, you know, you go back to watching the chicken being cooked again, and it's just like, girl, what are we learning
Yeah.
here? Like, you know, like nothing. Like, you know. And the fact that like that angered me so much because she posted about how she had to fight and pitch like why they would benefit from her doing these videos and this series. Like,
Yeah.
you know, she had to give them like a full-on sales pitch. And her, you know, her videos got really like decent views, and then she got paid. I think she wrote it was about $400 per video, and it's like come on, like, you know.
Yeah, in
Yeah, it's
comparison to
just
what the white counterparts
wait,
make, it's
yeah,
very,
yeah,
very little.
yeah, exactly. It's just like, ugh, too much.
Yeah,
Like,
it just reminds me that there was this video that they did, and it was one of the first videos. I'm kind of like a recent fan of theirs, so I definitely don't know all the series. I haven't seen like I haven't watched a lot of the channel, so I don't know a lot of stuff. But there was a video that they did where I think it was Chris, Carla, and Sola. And they did this video about carbonara, and like the three of them made different versions of it. And I remember in that specific video, Sola did a dessert version of it, and everybody was mind blown at how iconic it was. And in the same video, she helped both Chris and Carla make their like quote unquote regular like traditional versions of it, which like people were just like, now looking back, they were like, wow, she really was like cooking circles around everyone in that staff. And she like, people were pissed because like now looking back, it was like she didn't even get paid for that. She was just a part of the video for them to look diverse. And she literally did the best job in that video. Everybody was shook because she killed it.
Yeah, she's like the supreme, like superior,
It's
like
the
cook
supreme.
out of everyone. It's like, you know, yeah, like she is outclassing all of them,
Yeah.
and like, you know, like she's not getting paid for it. So, oh, it's so just makes me angry.
Yeah.
Oh,
And also, like, as a food channel / magazine, wouldn't you want to showcase a huge variety and diversity of like plates and chefs and cuisine so that your channel basically appeals to like so many audiences? Like, wouldn't that be beneficial? Like, what's the benefit in having like a dozen of like white people who all know how to make the exact same thing? Like, that's not, and obviously that's like a generalization, and I'm sure everybody is there for a reason and they all have their qualifications and such. But you know, for the sake of discussion, I'm just kind of doing that generalization because it's like, why wouldn't you want to have a diverse staff so that you can make different takes on, like you can do an Italian dish in a different take. You can have different like African influences in certain dishes. You can have so much variety and diversity, and then they just choose to have stuff that appeals to like, I don't know, like middle America or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like they appeal to like this white audience that it's like they assume that everybody watching is white. And like, I mean, even me, like as a white person, like I don't want to see just white people. I want to see a variety of people. I want to see what the world looks like. I don't want to, like, the world isn't all white. I want to look and hear and understand and learn about other cultures and other dishes and stuff like that. But yeah, do you have any other things that you want to add, Chelora, that we may have not touched on?
So, sorry again, but if you're a BA aficionado like me, do you guys know who Vinny is?
I think I've seen him do a cameo or two, but I'm not super familiar.
He's usually the cameraman, so he's usually not like in the video.
Oh,
But
okay.
usually, Brad is usually, you know how he's usually like, "Hey, Vinny," or "Oh, want to have some of this, whatever, Vinny." He's always saying Vinny. He hasn't been saying that for a few months because he quit.
Oh.
Um, and he was saying he didn't enjoy making It's Alive Gourmet Makes Alex Eats It All in 24 Hours, which is all featuring white stars.
Right.
But he didn't expand on that.
Oh, interesting.
But he did quit, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I noticed a difference, because I think one of the three mentioned something about how like it was a different person behind the camera. So I think it might have been Claire. I think because I watch Gourmet Makes quite often. So it might have been her, and she kind of, I think she made like an offhand comment about how like someone else was filming or something. So that's interesting. Yeah. Hopefully this situation gets handled properly, because obviously sometimes it's been kind of a pattern these days where there's an apology and then the person on top kind of resigns, but then who's going to replace them? Is the company moving forward in a better way? So like everybody is kind of catching on to like there's an apology from the higher up, they kind of like resign, and then who knows what's going to happen. So hopefully things are going to move to a better direction, and I hope that this Black Lives Matter movement continues to affect different industries and stuff like that, because it is important that to realize and to understand that racism isn't just like happening like on the streets. It's not just happening within the police force. It's not just happening in court or anything like that. It's happening everywhere, in every industry, in every organization, in every sort of spectrum in workplace and stuff like that. So it's important to note that, and for everyone to kind of be aware, like, is there someone like that I could uplift within my company, you know? Because sometimes having white privilege in a situation where you can help someone raise their voice can be really helpful for them and for the company itself. But obviously, mostly focusing on the coworkers and stuff, because as an ally, it's important to realize when someone isn't being heard and for you to help boost their voices, no matter what environment and no matter what industry you're in. So yeah, any final things that we want to add on before we get on to the things that we're living for and the things that we're excited to kind of promote? Any last words on the matter? Going once, going to okay.
From the past couple weeks, I mod for a few other people, and it's like I see commentary like, "Oh, that's in the US. It's not my problem." Racism is a global issue.
Oh yes.
Just want to put that out there. Racism is a global issue.
Uh-huh.
And even if these things are maybe not happening in your country or where you live or what's going on, take part. Racism is everywhere. Maybe it's, maybe you live in a country where racism isn't against Black people. I'm sure it's something about someone somewhere.
Yeah. Discrimination is definitely happening everywhere.
So
yeah, it sparked a lot of conversations here about our Indigenous Australians that severely mistreated the same way, and have been forever. And it's helped open a lot more conversations here, and a lot of we were also protesting. There's been a lot of protests happening around Australia for the Black Lives Matter movement, but also for the Aboriginal Australians who, unfortunately go through the same sort of stuff, and it's all just swept under the carpet. And there's, horrible deaths in custody and, stuff like that happen here. So it's reflecting definitely on us here, and we sort of been like, people are like, oh, why are they protesting? Because it's they're protesting stuff and that's happening in America, not even realizing that
right,
it's included, like
It's the same
stuff
problem.
that's happening in their backyard. They just they try to block it out and pretend it's not happening, which is but I'm hoping it's enacting some change here as well.
Yeah.
It's the same with Canada as well, with the Indigenous peoples. There's a lot of Indigenous women that just go missing so mysteriously.
Yeah, just like
And
out of nowhere, like, oh, what?
nobody bats an eye at all.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. It's like, really? Like, if a white woman got snatched, you'd be on the news right away.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't understand why things like this get ignored or people just don't do anything. And it's time to really pay attention and wake up and do something about it.
Yeah. Over here as well in Portugal, we had a couple protests as well, and a couple like politicians were like, "Oh, Portugal isn't racist. There's no racism here." Well, I would beg to differ, especially as someone who's not from like a city environment. Um, I've definitely noticed racism instances and racist expressions used on a daily basis by people from, managers to people above or underneath, speaking like in that hierarchy. Obviously, nobody is beneath anyone, but, in a workplace. And just like generally speaking, people will, like, if you're in a public transportation, I've seen people literally like stand up and move seats because like a person of color sat next to them or near them or whatever. So definitely, there's definitely racism that takes place, and even I'm glad I don't work for them anymore. But the parent company that I used to work for, I remember there was an instance where I needed something from someone, so I went to them, and someone was actually giving them like they were giving them their CV. They wanted to sign up for for like a position at the company or something. And she was like, and I overheard the conversation. She was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like we don't accept immigrants here." Like and I could tell that she was sad about it, because she was like our parent company, for some reason you have to have a Portuguese citizenship and whatever. And she was like, don't waste your time, basically. She was being real with them. She didn't mean it, like she didn't say it in a rude way. She was like, they're terrible. That's just, like that's basically what she said. And I was like, uh-oh, I need to get out of here. So I ended up quitting that job. And you could tell like most of the staff was white as well. Like there was literally one black employee that worked there, and like there was dozens of employees. So that tells you something about how racism takes place, even if it's not like racist actions. Like if you look around you or you go to a store and there's only white employees, there's some sort of bias there. Even if it's not like straight up racism, there's definitely a bias there. So it's not definitely a US exclusive issue, and people need to understand that sooner rather than later, because things need to change. Things need to change for sure. But yeah, let's move on to our last segment of the show, which is the things that we're living for. This is basically a place where we highlight, TV shows or movies or games, stuff that we've been enjoying recently, and things that have been getting us through everything that's going on in the world, global pandemic and all. I'm gonna start to give you all some time to think about maybe some of the things that you need to bring up. I recently watched, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but finally I watched Paris is Burning. I'm embarrassed because I should have watched this already, but I finally watched it over the past week or so, and it was so good. It's basically a documentary that showcases the ballroom scene, and basically They showcase basically it's basically a glimpse into queer history from the late 80s, early 90s. So it's definitely they explain a lot of stuff and a lot of things. I'm just gonna say this: a lot of expressions, a lot of things that we use in 2020 and through Drag Race and things like that. They came from that scene. They came from that background, and so know your history. It's on Netflix in a lot of countries. I had to find it elsewhere because it wasn't on Netflix in Portugal for some reason anymore. But definitely, Paris is Burning is a really good queer documentary. I know there's a documentary about Marsha P. Johnson on Netflix. Do not watch that. And I say that because the person who did that documentary basically stole from someone else. So they basically just like used that person's research and their content and basically made their own version. So do not watch that on Netflix. I wish I had the title of the original, but I don't. But definitely Paris is Burning is a really good one. I also have been playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. I kind of stopped and then I came back to it. It's been really good because it gets my mind occupied. I get distracted with like all the cutscenes and all the things. Passion just said it in chat. The name of the original film is Happy Birthday, Marsha. So look that up if you can. Support the original creator of that documentary. Definitely do so because we're not about stealing content, especially from POC individuals. We do not do that in this household. Yeah, I think that's all I've been enjoying recently. I think I already mentioned Pose, but I've been watching season 2 and it's so good. I was literally bawling my eyes out this morning. So it's great. It doesn't sound great when I say that I was just bawling my eyes out, but it's emotional in like sometimes uplifting ways, sometimes in sad ways, and it gives you a glimpse of the reality of our community back then in like early 90s and stuff, but still some stuff that is relevant today, unfortunately. Like some of the discrimination our community goes through, specifically trans people of color, they go through so much more bullshit, and they always have been at the forefront of fighting for our rights, and they are still the ones that suffer the most. So definitely I've just been enjoying like a lot of queer stuff, which has been great. But yeah, what are you living for, Miss Chelora?
I've been spending a lot of time doing research, looking at everything, talking to people to just be in the loop constantly and pay attention as best I can and things like that. So I take a break every little bit to just like cleanse my brain and like, feel happy about something and not be so mad all the time. So I've been playing some Terraria.
Ooh.
Because it had an update recently where like it gets, I don't know, there's more stuff to do and more things to see and things like that. I've been I just got into Temtem, which is like super late, but someone bought it for me, so I was like, oh yay, like I'm gonna try that. And it's been really nice. When I'm not doing like 20 projects because it's Pride Month. But it's not a secret except to my family on Facebook, but I'm working on a coming out video in my spare time for my family because I already came out as gay, but I am trans as well as a drag queen, and they don't know those things. So I just wanted to be transparent with them, even though we don't have the best relationship as a family. So working on that stuff.
Yeah, very important stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Smalzsy?
What am I living for?
Yeah.
What am I living for? I'm living for Pokemon DLC that's coming out next week.
Yes.
In celebration, I did like a little challenge run of Pokemon Sword to get through get me hyped. So I'm really excited for that. It looks really promising. I'm all for these new things. But yeah, I haven't really been. I don't watch things. I'm just always on Twitch, so like I haven't really been like watching any like TV shows or anything. Um, but yeah, I've just on Twitch hanging around.
Yes.
I'm yeah, it's just been a very chill time. Like because we're coming out of all our quarantine stuff at the moment. I've been living for like trying to catch up with people.
Yes.
And see friends again and see people and spend quality time with them. So I've been living for a bit more social interaction. I mean, I don't really leave my house ever, but
Me.
when you're suddenly told that you can't leave your house and then you can't see the people that you do casually see, it's just like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I've been catching up with a few friends and stuff and spending some quality time with people. That's what I've been living for. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I did briefly mention it as well, but I was living at the time that we were recording this, I was living for the recent PS5 reveal stuff. There was a lot of juicy content on there. So I'm very much looking forward to it as well. The next gaming generation looks very promising, which is really exciting. I just live for like nerdy shit like that. I'm like, oh my god, this is why I love games. Like I was after the stream, I was like, oh, this is why I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely stay tuned. Follow all of our content. Once again, where can people find you? Let's start with Smalzsy this time. Feel free to promote anything, any upcoming content. You kind of teased the Pokemon DLC and stuff, but feel free to promote all across the board.
Yeah, well, you could find me, once again at twitch.tv/Schmalzsy. Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, the same handle, that's Smalzsy, SMALZSY. I do a lot of variety stuff. I'm currently looking forward to the Pokemon DLC that's being released. I'll be playing a lot of that on stream, and also a Pokemon booster box opening as something a little
Ooh.
different. So, yeah, that'll be exciting and interesting. And if you want lighthearted clownery with lots of laughter, come hang out with me.
Yeah, it's definitely a great time at Smalzsy's stream. I've been waking up earlier these days, so I get to watch his streams every time he's on, and I definitely have a blast every time. So I definitely recommend. I also recommend my good Judy Chelora. Where can people find you? Promote everything you have going on, upcoming projects and such.
Again, that's twitch.tv/Chelora or Twitter at Chelora with a 0 instead of an O, or at Instagram, Chelora Flora. I'm working on a lot of projects right now with a lot of people.
She's overwhelmed.
I love to keep busy. So there's a lot going on, and I hope that everybody sticks around for the ride. I often do drag. I try to do it as often as possible on my channel, but we are currently playing some... Let me see if I can get this. Dragon Quest Warrior Monsters 2 Terra's Adventure.
Yes. Okay.
Long name.
Okay, long name. Oh no, what did I do with my hair?
So-
Anyway. She's going through a moment. What,
That's why I can't touch my head when I'm
We're doing a dress
streaming.
thing.
what happened? But yeah, you can also find me and Miss Chelora being a part of Summer of Pride 2020,
Oh, yes.
hosted by Midboss. We've been raising money for charity, playing some queer inclusive games, and a lot of awesome queer representation in video games. So you can also find that at summerofpride.tv for more information on other streamers who are a part of it, the full schedule, all of that fun stuff. definitely stay tuned. A lot of new friends that I've been making as well through that. I'm like, yes, so many new creators, so many awesome people. Their Twitch channel is We Are Mid Boss. Thanks, Chelora, for that. And they've been hosting all the streamers on there. So, you know, if you're not aware of the schedule, just like go to their stream, and if they happen to be hosting someone you're into, click on that channel, chat up with their community, get to know new friends, and it's been a good old time. So yeah, I also am a variety content creator. I stream at least once a week for these, and I also do other video games. I recently did a horror game stream as a part of a charity milestone, and I was screaming my little booty playing Outlast, and it was fun for everyone except for me. But it was lovely. I actually after the fact, I was like, yes, I'm proud of myself. I had fun. But when I was actually doing it, I was like, I'm not about this. Do not jump scare me any longer. I am tired. But yeah, thank you everyone. Yes.
Isn't Outlast that game with all the little dickies in them?
Oh yes, there was definitely a portion where we went through a shower sequence, and I was like, "Oh, we pretend to not see it because I don't want to be blocked. I don't want to be banned. I don't want to be removed from Twitch." But yes, there were definitely some ding dongs in there. So if you're not streaming and you're not, running around, that's a treat for y'all, I guess. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching / listening to this week's episode of Breakfast at Ruby's. Again, make sure to follow everyone, support all my co-hosts and all of that stuff, and we'll see you next week with a new episode. Bye.